Hola, Eros Academy familia. Today was a pretty important lesson in Spanish class. We started talking about verb conjugations. Most, if not all, languages have verb conjugations, but we don't think about it a lot in English because our verbs don't change much based on the person. So it's like if we're talking about eat, I eat, you eat, he eats, right? That one's a little different. We eat, you all eat, they eat, right? It's eat, 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 except for the third person singular, he or she eats. That's pretty much our only verb conjugation in English. However, in Spanish, the verb changes, the ending of the verb changes based on who the subject of the sentence is. So that's the idea of a verb conjugation. Up until this point, we've just been learning third person singular form of verbs. So the he or she form. So whenever we've talked about any kind of sentence, it's been he or she does something. So we've used like the characters in the book or like just talking about each other, he or she. And so all of the verbs in the whole language end in AR, ER, or IR in their root form. It's called the infinitive form. So that's the non-conjugated standard form. It's called the infinitive, and it means to do the verb. So like to eat. So it's not I eat or you eat, just to eat. That's called the infinitive. All verbs in that form end in either AR, ER, or IR. And the endings change based on which type of whether it's an AR verb, ER verb, or IR verb. I'm making this a little more, breaking it down a little bit more, in a little bit more of a complex way right now than I was in class. In class, I just explained that so far we've learned how to say he or she. And that AR verbs end in A, which is pronounced ah in Spanish, and ER and IR verbs end in E, which is pronounced A in Spanish. So if you have your sheet, that would be helpful to look at. It says Spanish verb conjugations at the top. I have the easier verbs listed on the left side, and then on the right side, the more complicated ones, and we'll talk through those as we go through them. So montar, to ride. Okay, so see that AR at the end? That's the infinitive form, means to ride. When we break it down, now we're just going through the singular subjects right now. We're not going to get to we, you all, or they right now. We're just going to do I, you, and he or she. So yo means I. Okay, I kind of hammered that one into the kids today. Yo means I. And the yo form of verbs ends in O, which that's easy to remember because yo, O, right? So yo monto. And then they've already learned he or she, ella monta. Okay, so I just told them change the ah to an O, and you've got I did the thing. Okay. Now the you form is to. So I had all the kids go to you, just kind of hammer that one in. And that the to form is just the LA form that they already know, but we add an S. Okay, so tu montas, you ride. Okay, so yo monto, I ride. Tu montas, you ride. Él or ella monta, he or she rides. So they should already know monta pretty well because that's what we've been working on. So all of these verbs we've already learned, but we've only learned the él or ella form. Now we're adding the yo form, which means I, and the tu form, which means you. Okay, so the next verb, tomar, to take. Yo tomo, I take. Tu tomas, you take. Él or ella toma, he or she takes. Escuchar, to listen. Yo escucho, I listen. Tu escuchas, you listen. Él or ella escucha, he or she listens. Hablar, to speak or to talk. Yo hablo, I speak. Tu hablas, you speak. Él or ella habla, he or she speaks. Comer, to eat. Yo como, I eat. Tu comes, you eat. Él or ella come, he or she eats. Now this is an ER verb. See how it ends in ES and E in the to form and the él or ella form? But the kids already know come pretty well. So again, you just add the S to come to get the to form. And then the yo still ends in O, so that's great. All right, beber, another ER verb, to drink. Yo bebo, I drink. Tu bebes, you drink. Él or ella bebe, he or she drinks. Okay, now, there's something a little tricky about all these verbs on the right side. So jugar, to play. Now, the kids know very well, because we learned this verb on week 1. Él or ella juega. Now, if you notice, there's a little change there. It's called a stem changing verb because there's a change in the stem. That means the part of the verb that's not the ending. So that U changes to an E, a UE. Anyway, but they know juega really well. So there's a stem change in all the forms here. So yo juego, I play. Tu juegas, you play. Él or ella juega, he or she plays. So that's the weird thing. That one's a stem changer. Now, preferir, I didn't teach this yet. I'm going to do it next week. But it also is a stem changer. That E, the second E, changes to an IE. So I'll just talk through it while we're here. Preferir means to prefer. Yo prefiero, I prefer. Tu prefieres, you prefer. Él or ella prefiere, he or she prefers. Okay, ver technically is irregular, but it's such a minor little thing. So you should be, on all verbs, we really drop the ending, the AR, ER, or IR. However, in the yo form of ver, we keep the E. If it was truly regular, it would be yo vo, but it's not, it's veo. So, but that's pretty easy to remember. So, ver, to see. Yo veo, I see. Tu ves, you see. Él or ella ve, he or she sees. They know ve pretty well, the kids. Okay, and then traer also has an irregular yo form. So traer means to bring. Yo traigo. You add that E. Forget I said E. You basically add an I just kind of for the sound of it, and you add a G. And you hear the G in there, so that's just irregular. You just add a G. Quite a few other verbs in the language do that irregular yo, especially with adding a G. Okay, so yo traigo, I bring. Tu traes, you bring. And él or ella trae, he or she brings. So the to form and the él or ella form is regular. It's just the irregular yo. Ir is kind of a weird verb. It means to go. The whole verb is just IR, so you could kind of say the whole verb is the ending. So the forms are, it's weird that the forms have a V in them and AR endings. It's kind of a weird verb. We'll just have to memorize it. So ir means to go. Yo voy, I go. Tu vas, you go. Él or ella va, he or she goes. So va we've used since lesson 1, so we know that one really well. So it's nice that the to form still follows that same pattern of you just add an S to the form we know really well. But the yo form is voy, so we just have to memorize that one. Now, ser is also a super weird verb. All the forms are just totally irregular. But the one nice thing about it is the yo form is very similar to the yo form of ir. So that's why I put those next to each other. So yo voy means I go. Yo soy means I am. Okay, so ser means to be. Yo soy, I am. Tu eres, super weird form also. Just have to memorize that one. You are. Tu eres. Él or ella es. The kids know that one very well. Es. We've used it a lot. So that was it for today. We pretty much just talked through all the forms we already knew, él or ella form. Then we talked through the yo forms of all the verbs. The kids were really picking it up. I was saying like, he or she, well, I would say he or she drinks is bebe. What would I drink be? And they were all like bebo. So they were getting it very, very well. And then we talked through all the to forms, just adding an S to the L or AO form. So if they can remember that L or AO form and just remember that the yo form, it changes to an O at the end. And the to form, you just add an S to that L or AO form, they should be in really good shape. The preschoolers, I've kept it super simple. I pretty much just told them yo ends in O, and we had them repeat all of the yo forms, the pre-K and K. And same with the to forms. I was just like, two, point to your neighbors and say two. So I just kind of tried to just get that into their brain through the repetition there. So have fun practicing these verbs. Just saying I do things, you do things, right? That'd be a great practice. The activities there in the book, if you have the book, page 38 and 41 through 49. Verb conjugations were kind of explained mixed in with gustar in the book, so it's kind of weird, but just stick to those pages. And there's gustar pages kind of throughout, like 39 and 40 were gustar, so that's why I skipped those. Anyway, that's it. Hasta luego.